All right, so let's talk about what happened in Kansas City and the disaster that took place in Kansas City, where the Tigers lost 3 of 4 games to a team that has been struggling. Again, we said going into the series, if they did not at least split, it would be an utter failure. And guess what? They utterly failed. They were swept in a doubleheader. They lost the finale. They were 4 for 28 in the series, in the losses. In the 3 games that they lost, 4 for 28 with runners in scoring position. And this offense, for as good as they were during that 6-game win streak, they were terrible, terrible. In Kansas City, the lone bright spot really being Javi Baez, who's been hitting for power and extra base hits and really has been doing a great job. But the rest of the offense just brutal. I don't think it's a coincidence that the one game that they ended up winning in this series was when Jeimer Candelario was not in the lineup. And it pains me to say that because Jeimer Candelario is one of those guys that I have really liked. He's one of those guys that I really thought was a good acquisition. Didn't ever thought he was going to be a major superstar or anything like that. But they put Willie Castro at third base, and the offense scored 7 runs. They tried to lose that game too. That was the game that Miggy stole his 40th base of his career, which put, I think, him 1,863rd all-time in Major League history, which was an amazing tweet that was sent out by the Tigers. But really, that was the only bright spot of this entire 4-game series. Just disastrous. It was just completely disastrous. You load the bases in the finale in the first inning with nobody out, and you only get 1 run out of that. Only 1 run out of that. It's in the turning point, and obviously the clear disaster was the 4th inning where Skubal had to throw 27 pitches because of an error that was made by Jonathan Scope, but also because of miscues in the field. Skubal not being able to field his position, overrunning a ball that he picks up a majority of the time. Javi he tried to make a play on a chopper up the middle with the guy on second where he kind of lunged to tag him, but at a certain point, instead of making that difficult play like that, Javi's got to get the ball to first base and make an out, which he just did not do, and it extended the inning. And for the most part, Skubal looked really good. Topped out at 100 miles per hour, was locating the fastball right on the rails of the plate, and just looked like the Skubal that we had seen. He did go 6 innings. He did give up those 4 runs, ended up taking the loss. But that 4th inning just really did him in. And then the offense can't muster anything together. Can't do anything with runners in scoring position and threatening. It had Brady Singer on the ropes twice. Bases loaded, nobody out in the 1st inning. Bases loaded, 1 out in the 6th inning, and didn't score any runs. It's brutal. I don't even know. I can't even come up with the right adjective to describe this continually over and over again. It's just brutal. There's a lineup of a few players that can hit the ball. I would consider a major league hitter. Everybody else is just struggling. Green has been fantastic. Torkelson clearly is struggling, especially on mistake pitches. That when he came up to bat in the 6th inning against Singer, hung 2 sliders. Dead red center of the plate. Both of them fouled off. And then he chased a slider out of the zone for a strikeout. Just not producing. And then Candelario can never determine whether he wants to swing or not. At any pitch that comes low and inside, he checks swings and ends up striking out. It's brutal to watch, and it was not a great series for the Detroit Tigers. They have dropped their record back to 15 games under 500, 37-52. They've got a 4-game set coming up with the Cleveland Guardians here on the weekend before the All-Star game. But we're going to see. You would like to be within maybe 13 games of 500 if you split this series with the Guardians. You might get lucky and be only 12 games if you can win 3 of the 4, but not with the way that they played in Kansas City. And it's just brutal. I don't want to belabor the point, and I don't even want to sit here and continue to talk about it because there's nothing to say. The Royals just have the Tigers. You go on a 6-game winning streak, you lose the final 2 to the White Sox, and then you go into Kansas City just unable to do anything, unable to produce anything. And you lose to a team that is not performing well either. Like, just the playing down to the competition just is crazy to me. And I understand, listen, it's baseball, right? There's going to be times where you struggle and you go through ruts, but you got to eventually even things out. This roller coaster of when I'm getting texts after the 6-game winning streak from friends talking about baseball, and they say, I hope they don't turn around and just undo everything they've done in the last 6 games. And that's a general concern because of the roller coaster that this team is. You got to find a way to even out. You got to find a way to really level out the type of team that you are. And right now, the Tigers, they don't really have anything to really hang their hat on. They're not a great offensive team. We know that because the roster has been constructed horribly. They have decent. The pitching in this series was not bad. Pineda's biggest struggle in Game 1 as I was watching it is you get to 2 outs and you can't put that final person away. And extended innings and extended pitching counts. But Pineda looked good. Faedo was awful. He only went an inning and a third, I think. Tyler Alexander came in and did what was necessary in Game 2, but they still ended up giving up 7 runs that night. It's frustrating. I don't know how to put it other than the fact that watching this team is just incredibly frustrating. And you'd like to think that they would turn the corner. You'd like to think that at a certain point, they would turn a corner, but I just don't know how that happens this season. They're going to have one opportunity to change the mindset, and that's going to be when they head into Cleveland to play the Guardians in a 4-game set.
Man on a mission, I'ma get it. You know I be on a what? Yeah.